Hello, my dear students. I welcome you once again to our grammar virtual class. In today's video lesson, we would be learning more about verbs. Okay, and this topic you would find it in page number 53 in your textbook. Page number 53. So let us begin with our topic for today. So here you can see in the slide there are two types of verbs. Okay, verbs are mainly of two types, that is main verb and auxiliary verbs. Now, what is the meaning of main? When I say main verbs, it means the most important, right? Main verbs means the most important, and the second one, auxiliary verb, means helping verbs. Okay, you just have to remember these two words, main verbs and auxiliary verbs. Now let us understand what are main verbs. Words that actually shows the action or activity of subject. Now, what are main verbs? Main verbs are those words which shows us exactly the action, what the action that the subject is doing. Okay, so and these main verbs, they can stand alone. They do not need the help of any other verbs in the sentence. They alone can show the action. Okay, for example, read, sleep, eat, run. Now these words, they can show the action on their own. Yes or no? When I say read, you know what is the meaning of read. It means what you know what you have to do. Similarly, sleep, eat, run. So these words are action words, and these words are exactly showing the action done by the subject. Now, coming to auxiliary verbs, like I told you, what is the meaning of auxiliary? It means helping verbs. So, what do they do in a sentence? They give more meaning to the main verb. Now, these verbs, auxiliary verbs, they used to help the main verbs. Okay, they used to add more meaning to the main verbs. They cannot stand alone. Okay, now this auxiliary verb, they cannot stand on their own. They need the help of the main verb, but they help the main verb. They help the main verb by helping, like in the how does they help the main verb? By telling the time of the action. Okay, suppose here I would say tense. Okay, this auxiliary verb helps in forming tenses of the verb. Okay, tenses means the time of the verb. It tells us the time of the action. So here in this part, you have to remember again that this auxiliary verb are again divided into two. Okay, there are two types of auxiliary verb, and the first one is called the primary auxiliary, and the second one is called the modal auxiliary. I think you have heard it right. Modal auxiliaries, primary auxiliaries. Now, what are primary auxiliaries? Primary auxiliaries are is, for example, it's given in the slide, is, has, do, did. Now, these words are called primary auxiliaries, and modal auxiliaries are will, shall, may, can, could, might, must. Now, these words are called modal auxiliaries. Now, in this video lesson, we would be doing with primary auxiliaries. Okay, and we would be covering modal auxiliaries in our next class. The verbs be, do, and have are important verbs. They can act as main verbs by themselves, and they can also perform the function of helping verbs in the formation of other finite verbs. Now here, the form of be, have, be, do, and have, they can function as helping verb, and they can also function as main verbs. Okay, and they help in the formation of finite verbs. Now class, we have already done with finite verbs and non-finite verbs. Now you know what are finite verbs, right? So here, so these verbs be, do, and have, they help in the formation of finite verbs. That is, finite verbs means verbs that change in terms of number, person, and tense. Getting it? Those verbs that change in terms of number, tenses, and person. Suppose if this subject is in singular, then even we have to use a singular verb. Yes or no? Remember. So that one is those verbs are called finite verbs. Okay. So all these three verbs are finite verbs. The following summarizes their present, past, and past participle form. Now, the table given below summarizes their forms. Okay. Now let us see the table. In the first table, we have the form of be, and it is in the present tense. It is given the present tense, past tense, and past participle. Now here, when I say present tense, students, remember I told you when we were conducting our physical class, that time I told you what is verb first form, what is verb second form, and what is third form of the verb. I told you, right? So first form of the verb is the present tense, second form of the verb is the past tense, and third form of the verb is your past participle. Okay, so remember this one. For example, let me give an example. Suppose I have the word as eat. Now what is the second form of the verb? That is the past tense of the verb. Past tense of the verb eat is at, right? And what is the third form of the verb? That is the past participle form of the verb eat, eaten. Eat, at, eaten. This is how we go, right? So you don't have to get confused. This is what it is, okay? Now, in the second form of have, in the first table, if you see the form of be, we have is, am, and are. Is and am. Is used for singular. Am is used for the subject I, and are is used for plural subjects, right? In the past tense, we have was or were. Was is for singular and were is for plural. And the past participle, we have only one, that is been. Now, coming to the second form of the verb have, we have for plural subject and has for singular subject. In the past tense, we have had, and the past participle we have even in past participle we have the word had. Now, in the third form of do, if you see the form of do, we have in the present tense as do for plural subjects and does for singular subjects. In the past tense, we have did. We have only one verb, that is for both plural and singular. Also, we would be using did only. And for past participle also, we have only one verb, that is done. Done for singular subjects and even for plural subjects. I hope you are clear up to this part. All right. So in the next slide, we would be learning the uses of the form of be, have, and do. Okay, we would learn the uses of be, have, and do. That is how we use the form of be, have, and do as main verbs and also as helping verbs.